Hi everybody, I'm Evan.
And I'm Missy.
And today we are going to be reviewing the Beyond the Palisades expansion for Pagan, Fate of Roanoke.
And thank you to Capstone Games for providing this copy of the expansion to us.
Yes, even though this was provided to us, our opinions are our own.
Pagan is a two-player asymmetrical card game, with one player being the witch and one player playing the witch hunter. The witch's job is to perform a ritual, and the hunter needs to suss out who is the witch.
Yeah, correct. So we are not doing a full review of the base game or even how to play of the game. There are some links down below in the description if you want to see some other videos on YouTube that cover those things.
Yes.
Today we'll just be talking about the expansion. The Beyond the Palisades expansion.
Well, what's in the box for the Beyond the Palisades
expansion? So when you buy this, it comes in the same size box, basically, as the base game. And it comes with a full deck of Hunter and Witch cards that you can play right out of the box without tweaking at all, using components from the base game. And it also adds 4 new scenarios. And it adds Gloom tokens. They're little green tokens there.
And all new villagers.
Yes, and a full new set of villagers that do all sorts of different things.
They do. So Gloom is the main new addition to this expansion. It's a new resource where the witch can add Gloom, and the witch hunter needs to cleanse it.
Yeah, right. So it's a new. It's not super complicated to add to the game. I think once you get used to it, just having another token to deal with, it plays really smoothly because all the cards tell you what to do. When you play a Gloom card, it starts with tokens on it. When you remove them, the card's going to tell you where to remove them, or if you need to remove it anywhere, you can just remove it anywhere. I think there's more Gloom cards in the Hunter's deck than the Witch's deck.
That's a possibility.
But I think the ones in the Witch's deck are a lot more powerful. For this expansion, I only ever played the Hunter, and she only ever played the Witch. So what we want to do is show you some of the cards that it adds to the game that we like, and some of the cards that we don't like. Why don't you start?
Okay, so a lot of the Witch's Gloom cards are the enchantment cards, and they are quite powerful. Like, this one here is Foreboding Shadows, and it's, once you get it up on the board, every upkeep you're going to gain influence equal to the amount of Gloom tokens on here, and it starts at 3. So starting each round with an extra 3 influence is very powerful. Another one is the Strength in Darkness, which reduces the card cost for the witch by however many Gloom tokens is on there, and starting at 2. Also amazing when you need to play cards. Now, obviously the hunter can remove Gloom, and that's how he cleanses the cards, but this Invisible Barrier enchantment can help, meaning if he has to remove Gloom, it has to be removed from this card before anywhere else.
Yeah, that one's super annoying.
Now, the Tinted Moon enchantment is a bit overpowered in my own thoughts, but I still play it. It makes it so that he can't play any clues at all if there is a Gloom token on that color.
Yeah.
And it starts with all 3 colors on there.
Right,
so
it really hinders the clue placing for the hunter.
It basically means you have to stop what you're doing and get rid of this card.
Right.
So those are some of my favorite enchantments. For the charms, Dematerialize is good. I just remove 2 Gloom from anywhere on the board, and I can get rid of one of your cards on your board, either a location or an ally. And since his allies can do pretty damaging things to me, it's very powerful. The other charm that is very necessary is Lost in Plain Sight. This isn't one of the only charm Gloom cards. And you place 2 Gloom on it, and then it goes on top of a non-villager Gloom card, and it makes it unusable.
Yeah.
Yay! Yeah. It's very helpful, and
it's very terrible. Yeah. It's very terrible for the hunter.
Now, the potions, bottle of swamp water is very nice. It's a bit expensive, but you choose a faction and you can add one favor to all the villagers of the factions that don't have any favor. And you get to add a gloom. Now, if you get this at the start and you haven't built up any favor on anyone, you could add a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the encroaching fog. It's a little hard to do, but in some scenarios, it is very important because it needs to have one secret for each gloom card on the board. But once you can consume it, you get to add a gloom to all gloom cards, even if it exceeds the gloom limit. It's very powerful. It's just, if there's a bunch of gloom cards, it's going to cost a lot. Risk and reward. With the familiar cards, Emit is very nice. That gives you a gloom card bank, or a gloom bank on...
token bank, yes.
Yes, on this card. And if you spend influence, you can move it to a different card and exceed the limit. Captivation is very nice because you can remove a secret from every villager to add a favor to the visited villager. That's really important for getting all your the 3 favors that you need to do your ritual. Mm-hmm. And the support readies a villager of the faction with my bird on it, and that can be very helpful if he keeps going to the card I need to go to. I need to visit that villager.
Which, yeah, that's a common thing in this game, is locking up spots that you know your opponent wants to use.
Yes.
I would also like to mention that in relation to the gloom cards, they all have a cleansing effect.
Yes.
It is cleansed when all of the gloom tokens come off of it, and that effect always is positive for the hunter. So a hunter wants to get rid of those as soon as possible, and that includes the witches cards. Again, give a positive effect to the hunter. Mm-hmm. All right, so the hunter has some fun cards too. As far as the investigation cards go, there is the illumination, which you put on the hunter side, and every time the hunter goes there, you get to remove a gloom. And removing a gloom is very important for the hunter to do, and it's also very difficult for the hunter to do with these cards. There's not a lot that you can just freely do that with. And I think one of the issues is that they can spiral out of control with the witch. Mm-hmm. As in, like, if they get a lot of gloom out and you can only remove a couple per turn. So getting these types of cards out is very important. One of the other investigation cards you can play on the hunter side is the trail. It doesn't do anything until the gloom is removed, and then you get to exonerate a villager once it's cleansed. As far as investigation cards you can put on the witch side, there's some fun ones that are a little nuisance for them. One being the intense scrutiny. So every time they go there, they remove a gloom token, and then when it's cleansed, you get to remove a favor token from a villager of that faction. Then the other one I like is the triangulate, and that is again, once the gloom tokens are removed and it's cleansed, the hunter can add 3 clues to every villager of that faction. So, again, if the witch is abusing spots, you definitely want to drop these on those spots to discourage them for using it or pay a certain penalty for going there too many times.
Well, also, when you have 3 clues, that turns into evidence.
This is correct.
So, I don't want you to have 3 clues on one
This
person.
is correct. Okay, so as far as event cards, there's some fun ones. This rally is only costs 1 influence to play, and you target a faction and you ready all villagers of that faction. This is a card I think that is not necessarily tied to a gloom effect, so it could go well in any deck to clear the witch off of spots that you want to use, villagers that you want to use. Another one that I like is the Cautious Approach event, and that is just remove a gloom card, remove a gloom token from every hunter card in play. So if you have a bunch of gloom cards out there and you want to trigger them faster, that works perfectly. It only costs 2 influence to play. And then another one I like is the Whispers in the Dark. And that is where you target a gloom card in play and add clues equal to the gloom tokens on that card. So if the the witch has a card that's building up like crazy, you can get a lot of clues out as a result of that. So as far as locations go, there's some really fun ones there too. One of my favorites is the Peat Bog. It only costs 1 to play. And then as soon as you put your token on that one, and all that does is it adds a clue to a villager and then removes a gloom token. So then when the tokens are removed, you get to play the cleanse effect of any other gloom card in play. So if there's one that's not getting triggered because the witch doesn't want to go there, or it's a really good one for the hunter, you can trigger that one early. Or copy the effect, I guess. The storage is an interesting one. It starts with 3 gloom on it, and every time you go there, all you do is you tuck the top of your card underneath this card, and then when all the gloom is gone and the cleanse effect happens, you get to play all of those cards for free.
No.
It's
lost in plain sight. Lost.
I know. It's kind of a risky one, and it does cost 3 because that's all it does, right? It doesn't do any other effect, so you kind of have to focus on that. But if you can trigger it, then you get to play 3 free cards. But the downside is you don't know what they are.
That's true.
However, 3 free cards.
It has worked out for you in the past.
It is, but a lot of times when I put that out, I feel like I don't like if you don't focus on it, like you might not get to it, right? So you have to really want to do that, and not have too much else going on that you have to deal with first. Then another one of my favorite location cards is Outcropping. You put your token on it to play a card, and then when it's cleansed, you get to remove one of their enchantments. Because their enchantments are super annoying. So as much as you can get rid of those, as quick as you can get rid of those enchantments, the better. All right, so then as far as allies go, well, there's two that I really like that you almost need to get out as soon as possible, and hopefully draw them as soon as possible. Because one is the Candlemaker. He has a upkeep of 2 influence, but during his upkeep, he gets to remove a gloom. And this is a surefire way to remove a gloom every turn, which you need to do. And the other one is the Frontiersman, which is when a card is cleansed, you gain 2 evidence. So that'll help you build up evidence. Okay, so then, however, there are a couple of allies that I don't like, and I almost never play. One is the Guild Leader. She has a upkeep of 1 influence, and it's if you visit all 3 villagers of a faction your turn, you gain 2 evidence. And that almost just never happens, especially if you have a bunch of locations in front of you that you're also going to. It requires you to go all 3. And I don't know, maybe it would work in a non-gloom deck better, but like I just would never play that. And the other one is the Tactician. He's a more complex one where every upkeep you get to add a clue to him. So then as you build up those, then you can remove him from play to remove that many gloom tokens. So it's a slow build of, gaining the ability to remove gloom, but then you have to pay upkeep for the amount of clue tokens that are on him. So he can get really expensive, and I think it just takes too long. Like, if you're waiting like 4 or 5 turns so you can remove 4 or 5 gloom in one shot, I don't know, like I think it just takes too long and you're paying too much influence. I think it's just too tricky to do. I tried it once, didn't really work out so well.
It didn't, but that was for a scenario that was tricky for you.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, that covers some of our favorite cards in this deck, and I think there are other really interesting cards in this deck. Mostly gloom related, but other ones that can go into any other deck. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next, well, I guess let's talk about those scenarios.
All right.
It comes with 4.
Yes.
So, number 10 is called Beyond the Palisades. Okay, so the witch gets the power of whenever you play a gloom card, you get to add additional gloom to that played card, which is huge.
Yes.
Because that makes every card harder to cleanse. But then during the Hunter's upkeep phase, they get to remove a gloom. Like, remove a gloom anywhere. So, I don't know that 100% balances out, because you only get to remove... Hunter only gets to remove one, whereas the Witch can add potentially multiple in a turn. Extra gloom in a turn. And then the thing that both characters can do is, if you ever don't have a gloom in play, you can pull one out of your discard pile. I don't think we ever did that once. Like, that just never happened. I feel like we almost, once we got gloom cards in play, we always had gloom cards in play.
That's true.
What do you think about that scenario?
Well, the one thing you didn't mention, and we haven't talked about yet, was that the villagers start on the untainted side, and that's a little trickier as well, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, right. Because the one unique thing about this is the green villagers have two sides. A gloomy side and a non-gloomy side. Tainted or, what is the other side
Household.
called? Household. Okay. So that scenario's fine. I think that one works pretty well. Though, again, I might be a little bit unbalanced towards the Witch. So scenario 11 is called Into the Void. It starts with the household side of the green villagers. And for the Witch, when a gloom is removed, they gain a influence. And then whenever you play a gloom card, they get to draw a card and ready a villager. Huge.
Readying villagers is so nice because...
Always helpful.
Yeah.
No matter what.
You can't block a spot that way.
Exactly. So then the Hunter, when gloom is added to a card, they gain an influence. And so then when they play a gloom card, you may add the top two cards of your discard pile to your hand. I had a lot of fun with that one. Because I had certain powerful cards that I could, if I kept them towards the top of my deck, I could just keep getting them. Like, get them back every single turn.
Yeah, and you did.
That was a lot of fun. They don't have there's no both effect on that one. That one was fun. I like that one a lot.
Scenario number 12 is called Through the Veil. The villagers start gloomy, and during the Witch's turn and during her upkeep, I can remove a gloom from a card to add one secret to 3 different villagers. Now, once I had the Emit familiar in play, that was very powerful.
Yes.
The Hunter, however, whenever a card is cleansed, gains 1 evidence. And he needs that evidence to exonerate the villagers, and he can do that much faster with this power.
Yes.
And then with both villagers cleansed, or when a villager is cleansed, flip it over and then permanently reveal the top card of the suspect deck. And the Witch may add a favor to the villager with less than 2.
Yeah, so that can potentially accelerate the exoneration type victory condition for the Hunter. I felt, but sometimes it's not always easy to cleanse cards. So
this is very true.
But however, I believe I did use that to build those up pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Scenario number 13 is called Darkness Consuming, and it starts with the Tainted Villagers. Now, 13 needs 13 gloom cards on play for the Witch to win the game. This is more of a speed game scenario.
Yes, because it adds an alternate win condition. Yeah.
However, the Hunter just needs to cleanse 7 cards, and he wins the game.
Yes.
And a villager is cleansed, they just flip it over.
Yeah, correct. So I feel that scenario is broken. Because with the Tainted Villagers in play, you start with 6 gloom tokens already, like, at the beginning of the game.
Almost half.
Which, is almost half. And within a turn or 2, the Witch can win the game. And there's nothing the Hunter can do. If the Hunter does not draw any cards, it can quickly and efficiently remove gloom. It's over so quickly. So I don't know if... I saw some threads on Board Game Geek that suggested that maybe you should do non-villager cards, tokens on non-villager cards, which would slow it down a little bit, slow down the Witch's victory a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because as a Hunter, if you're putting out gloom cards on your side, well, you're basically just accelerating your loss faster.
Right.
And how do you cleanse cards the most efficiently as a Hunter is to put them on in your locations and then go to them.
Right, but then that's adding to it, and that makes it tougher.
Yeah. So I don't know how to. I think maybe the way to fix that scenario would be to change the text to non-villager.
Yes.
Gloom tokens.
I understand.
But as it stands, I think it's broken.
Yeah, you did actually okay. It lasted for a little bit longer, but once I had the encroaching fog, it was like, oh, I can win this turn.
But the only way I did okay was because I happened to draw some cards that allowed me to remove gloom within the first couple of turns.
Right.
Like that was the only way that it happened. So I don't. Yeah. So 13 I didn't like.
No.
It's wildly unbalanced in the favor of the witch.
Yeah, I can see that.
So then all the other scenarios are pretty decent. Okay, so the other thing, of course, it adds is villagers. So let's highlight a couple of villagers and some of the interesting things they do. I'm going to start out with my absolute favorite villager, and it is Housekeeper William. He's on the red side. And what he allows you to do is show the opponent 2 cards. They pick which one you get to play for free.
Yeah. You locked up that spot so many times.
Yeah, this is my favorite villager in the entire game because sure, you don't get to decide which card you play, but if you hand the witch, or I guess the opponent, because, but again, I love this card. So 2 cards that are really awful for them, they have to choose the lesser of 2 evils. And you get to play it for free. So you can have no influence and just get to play a free card that might potentially cost, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Love it. Love
even
that guy.
5.
Love that housekeeper.
Yeah. One of the best cards is Trapper Judy on the tainted side anyway, because she gives you 2 influence per gloom on that card. And if you put more gloom on that card, it should you can get a ton of influence from going there.
Right, using some of the ones that you can break the limit with.
Right. Now, the untainted side, not so easy, because you have to have action pawns on the other people in the faction to get influence, and that makes it a lot tougher.
Yeah, and as far as the blue faction goes, they kind of all have the same ability, where, like, for example, let's see here. For example, Woodcutter Oswald, he allows you to draw a card. But if you spend a clue
or a secret,
you get to draw 3.
Yeah.
So basically, it just all of the blue ones are boosted by spending clues or secrets, depending on which side you're playing, to improve the action. So those are cool too, as long as you can afford to spend those, because sometimes you can't.
Right.
So yeah, I think the villagers have interesting new powers.
But the main question is, should you add this to your collection if you already have Pagan?
Yeah, so if you know and love Pagan, is this a worthwhile expansion to add to the mix?
I think so.
I think so too. I think playing with the decks as they're built is fine. But I think once you've done that a couple of times, you might want to tweak it a little bit. For the purposes of this review, we only ever played with the villager, with everything that comes in this deck. The villagers, the cards. We didn't add or subtract anything from any other set, just to see what this one was like. And I think it is a worthwhile addition to your collection.
Yes.
Like we said earlier, the gloom isn't too complicated.
No.
It can be a nuisance for both sides, which is fun because you can irritate the witch with certain cards, and then the hunter certainly does get irritated when those ridiculous enchantments start coming out. So they're fun. It adds a lot of fun things to the game.
Yes, I agree.
So yeah, I would highly recommend it if you are a fan of the game. Let's get on to our final thoughts.
Well, here's a question. What would you score the base game as its own?
Yeah, that's a complicated question because this sort of game is not a sort of game that we generally play. Head-to-head, deck of card, not exactly battling, but, versus two-player type game. We don't have a lot of these games in our collection. It's not a type of game we'd normally gravitate to.
No, you thought I was going to hate it, too.
I thought you would hate it because I feel like there are games like this that we have played that you did not like.
Right.
Do you think the theme helps with that for you?
I mean, yes, I do like the theme, but I think I also enjoy the fact that playing the witch, I need to not let you know who I am.
Yes, correct.
I like that.
Okay, right. The deduction part. And the deduction part can be tough on the hunter side. But anyway, so I would probably score the base game. I'd say it's hard for me because I do really enjoy it. I think I would probably land on an 8. An 8 out of 10. What about you?
I was actually thinking the same.
Really? Okay, because it's almost an 8.5 because it is really fun to play.
It is.
I think maybe with some more deck building and more like tweaking of the decks.
Yeah, that's just something we haven't done yet and have tried out to build our own deck of cards. Right,
or just little tweaks here and there that might just enhance the experience as we go through more of the stuff that you can do that with.
Yeah.
All right, so then that said, what do you feel about this expansion?
I mean, I like the expansion. I like playing the game. Some of the new powers are great, and some of them I don't like at all for the villagers. Okay. Like the spending of the tokens, of either secrets or clues, is fine. This particular one, it's if you only gain 2 influence if you have a card of 3 or higher on your discard pile. That gets to be tough, and especially if this is your witch. And you can't always go there because you just discarded a 1. It's like, it makes it way harder to get your favor tokens on her. So you have to figure out other ways of doing it.
Yes, that's true. But I feel like in combination with the housekeeper, if you put 2 cards out that are higher numbered, like higher cost, then you're going to guarantee that you have that higher number on the top of your deck if you need to use that one.
Yeah.
Like second, like for your second action of that turn.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But I would maybe go a little bit under and say 7.
Okay, a 7, huh? That's a full point lower.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's tough because I think this is really fun. Though, like I said before, I think this expansion in general might be slightly unbalanced towards the witch. I feel like the hunter has to play a little more risky, let's say that.
Okay.
Because I feel like exonerating villagers is tougher with this expansion for the hunter. So you kind of have to use your intuition and
maybe just kill them instead.
I was going to say take a few more, knock on a few villagers' doors.
Stabs. Take a few more stabs.
And take a few more stabs because if you get a inkling that that's them and you see all these gloom tokens spiraling out of control, you might want to start killing villagers. But if you kill too many, just like with the base game, the witch wins. As far as the score goes, I'm going to go ahead and stick this with an 8. Is it an essential expansion to add to your collection? Essential might be a bit strong word, but I think you might want to be adding this to your collection if you own Pagan. And I'm glad we have it, and I'm looking forward to, mixing it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with an 8. I think this is just as good an addition to the game as the base game.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, I guess that just about wraps it up. Is there anything else we would like to talk about in this expansion? I think we've covered just about everything.
I think we have.
Okay. Well, thanks again to Capstone Games for providing this. And, well, I guess we'll see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.
The witch needs to perform a ritual. God damn it. Ritual.
Okay.
Hold on. Stop laughing. I'm trying to drink coffee.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to drink my coffee.